In the heart of Kaziranga National Park, where tall elephant grass grows higher than a man and the Brahmaputra river flows wide and strong, lived a young elephant named Arjun. He was 7 years old, which is still very young for an elephant who can live 70 years or more. Arjun had a good life. His herd was large and loving. His mother, Tara, was gentle and wise. His grandmother, the matriarch named Devi, led the herd with quiet strength. Arjun had cousins to play with, aunts who spoiled him, and uncles who taught him important things. But Arjun had one problem. He was impatient. He wanted to grow up fast. He wanted to be big and important immediately. "When will I lead the herd?" he would ask his mother. "When you are ready," she would reply calmly. "But I am ready now. I am strong. I am smart. Why must I wait?" His mother would touch his head gently with her trunk. "Strength and intelligence are not enough, Beta. Leadership requires something more, something you have not learned yet." Arjun did not understand. What could be more important than strength and intelligence? What was he missing? One morning, the herd woke up to find Grandmother Devi lying down. She was breathing, but her breath was slow and heavy. Her eyes were open, but they looked tired in a way they had never looked before. "She is old," Tara whispered to the other adult elephants. "Oh, bow, to, her time is coming." The herd gathered around Devi, touching her with their trunks, standing close, offering comfort. Devi looked at each of them with deep love, memorizing their faces one last time. Then her eyes found Tara. "Come closer, daughter." Tara approached, and Devi spoke softly so only she could hear. "You must lead now. The herd is yours. Protect them, guide them, love them. Amma, no, you will recover. You will." "My time is finished," Devi said gently. "Your time has begun. You are ready." By afternoon, Devi had passed away. The herd stood around her body for hours, touching her, mourning her, saying goodbye. Even the youngest calves understood that something important had ended. That evening, Tara stood at the front of the herd for the first time as their leader. The responsibility sat on her shoulders like a weight she had never felt before. 43 elephants, from newborn calves to teenagers like Arjun to old elephants in their final years, all of them looking to her for guidance, protection, decisions. Arjun watched his mother that night. She did not sleep. She stood alert, listening to every sound, watching for every danger, carrying a burden that was invisible but very real. For the first time, Arjun wondered if he really understood what leadership meant. 3 months after Devi's death, the drought came. The monsoon rains that should have arrived in June never came. July passed with no rain. August arrived with scorching heat and dry earth. The watering holes began to shrink. The grass turned brown. The herd's favorite feeding grounds dried up. Tara made a decision. "We must travel north, toward the river. There will be water there and green grass on the riverbanks." The journey was long and difficult. 40 kilometers through dry land, under burning sun, with little food and less water. The young calves struggled. The old elephants tired quickly. Everyone was hungry, thirsty, exhausted. Arjun walked beside his mother at the front of the herd. He noticed she barely ate. Whenever they found a small patch of grass, she would let the calves eat first, then the nursing mothers, then the others. She ate last, and only what remained. "Ma, you need to eat more," Arjun said with worry. "I eat enough," she replied quietly. "But you are losing weight. You look tired." Tara looked at him with eyes that held both exhaustion and fierce determination. "A leader eats last, Beta. When resources are limited, those who depend on you must be fed first. That is the rule." "But what if there is nothing left for you?" Then I go hungry, she said simply. That is the price of leadership. Arjun fell silent. He had never thought about leadership this way. He had thought being the leader meant being the strongest, the most respected, the most important. He had not realized it meant being the last to eat, the last to rest, the last to think of yourself. On the 5th day of their journey, the herd finally reached the Brahmaputra River. The sight of water made everyone rush forward. The calves trumpeted with joy. The adults moved as fast as their tired legs could carry them. But Tara did not rush. She stood at a distance, scanning the riverbank carefully. Something felt wrong. Her instincts, sharpened by years of experience and weeks of leadership, whispered danger. "Wait," she called out. Her voice was not loud, but it carried authority. The herd stopped. "Ma, what is wrong?" Arjun asked. "There is water right there. Everyone is thirsty." "Look carefully at the water's edge," Tara said quietly. "What do you see?" Arjun looked. At first, he saw nothing unusual, just muddy riverbank, water, some logs floating near the shore. Then one of the logs moved, very slightly, just a small shift. His blood went cold. That was not a log. That was a crocodile, a huge one, and there were more hidden in the water, waiting for desperate animals to come drink. "How did you know?" Arjun whispered. "Experience," Tara replied, "and responsibility. When 43 lives depend on your decisions, you learn to see danger before it sees you. You learn to think not just for yourself, but for the weakest member of your group." She led the herd to a different spot, farther upstream, where the water was deeper and crocodiles less likely to hide. She sent the young males in first to test the water and drive away any danger. Only then did she allow the calves and their mothers to drink. Arjun watched every decision his mother made. Each choice was careful. Each move was calculated. Nothing was rushed. Nothing was careless. Because one mistake could cost a life, and that life would be her responsibility. That night, lying beside his mother under the stars, Arjun said quietly, "I thought leadership was about being powerful, but it is actually about being careful, is it not?" Tara looked at him with surprise and pride. "You are beginning to understand, Beta." The herd stayed near the river for several weeks, waiting for the rains to return to their home territory. During this time, Arjun watched his mother constantly. He saw things he had never noticed before. He saw how she slept lightly, waking at every unusual sound, while the rest of the herd slept deeply. He saw how she positioned herself on the side of the herd where danger was most likely to come from, putting her body between potential threats and the vulnerable calves. He saw how she mediated disputes between herd members, listened to everyone's concerns, made decisions that sometimes made her unpopular but kept the group safe. He saw how she carried stress in her body, how her eyes were always watchful, how she never fully relaxed, never fully rested, never stopped being on guard. One evening, a tiger appeared. Tigers rarely attacked adult elephants, but a calf separated from the herd would be vulnerable. The tiger stalked along the tree line, watching, calculating, looking for an opportunity. Without hesitation, Tara moved toward the tiger, placing herself between the predator and her herd. She raised her trunk and trumpeted a warning that shook the air. Her message was clear. "You will have to go through me first." The tiger watched her for a long moment, measuring the risk, weighing his hunger against the danger of facing an angry mother elephant. Finally, he turned and disappeared into the forest. Tara returned to the herd, her body still tense, ready to charge again if needed. Arjun approached her. "Ma, You would have fought him, would you not? You would have risked your life. Without question, she replied. Every member of this herd is my responsibility. I would die before I let harm come to them. But what if you die? Who will lead them? Tara looked at him seriously. Then the next leader will step forward. Leadership is not about one individual being irreplaceable. It is about being willing to be replaced if that is what protecting your people requires. Arjun felt something crack open inside his chest. The romanticized idea of leadership he had carried for years shattered, and in its place grew something deeper: respect, true understanding, and the beginning of wisdom. Finally, after months of drought, the monsoon arrived. Dark clouds covered the sky, thunder rumbled, and then rain, beautiful, life-giving rain. The herd celebrated. Calves danced in the puddles. Adults lifted their trunks to catch rainwater. Everyone splashed and played and felt joy for the first time in months. Tara decided it was time to return home. The journey back was easier with rain-softened earth and fresh grass growing everywhere. The herd's spirits were high. Food was abundant. Water was everywhere. But on the third day of the journey home, disaster struck. They came to a swollen river they needed to cross. During the dry season, this river had been a small stream. But now, with heavy rains, it was wide, deep, and flowing fast. "Can we cross?" the other adults asked Tara. She studied the river carefully. The current was strong. The bottom was not visible. Crossing was dangerous, but going around would add 5 days to their journey, and they were all tired and wanted to go home. Arjun stood beside his mother. He could see the conflict in her eyes. He could feel the weight of the decision she had to make. "What would you do if you were alone?" Arjun asked quietly. "I would cross," Tara replied immediately. "I am strong. The current would not take me." "Then why do you hesitate?" "Because I am not alone," she said heavily. "The calves are small. The old ones are weak. What is easy for me is dangerous for them." A leader does not make decisions based on her own abilities. She makes decisions based on the abilities of the most vulnerable member of the group. She made her decision. We go around. It will take longer, but everyone will arrive safely. That is what matters. Some of the younger elephants grumbled. They wanted to go home faster. They did not understand why they had to take the long route. But Arjun understood. For the first time, he truly understood. Leadership was not about doing what you could do. It was about ensuring everyone could do it. Leadership was not about being the strongest. It was about protecting the weakest. When the herd finally arrived home, the landscape had transformed. Green grass everywhere, full watering holes, flowers blooming. It was beautiful. That night, the herd gathered under a large tree where Grandmother Devi used to tell stories. The calves played nearby. The adults rested peacefully. There was a feeling of contentment, of safety, of home. Tara sat slightly apart, watching over everyone as she always did. Arjun approached and sat beside her. They were silent for a long time, just sitting together in the peaceful evening. "Ma," Arjun finally said, "I need to tell you something." "What is it, Beta?" "For years I wanted to be the leader. I thought it would make me important, respected, powerful. I thought leadership was about standing at the front and everyone following you." He paused, gathering his thoughts. "But I was wrong. Leadership is not about standing at the front. It is about standing guard. It is not about being important. It is about making others' lives better. It is not about power. It is about responsibility." Tara looked at him with deep emotion in her eyes. "You have learned the lesson that took me years to understand. I do not want to be leader anymore, Arjun said softly. Not because I am afraid, but because I finally understand what it costs, and I respect that cost too much to want it selfishly. That, Tara said, touching his head with her trunk, is exactly the mindset that will make you a great leader someday. When you no longer want the position for what it gives you, but understand it for what it requires from you, that is when you are truly ready. Will I be ready someday? Yes, she said with certainty, because you have learned what many never learn, that true leadership is silent sacrifice. It is invisible burden. It is loving so deeply that you put everyone else first, always. Years went by. Arjun grew into a strong young bull elephant. At age 15, he left the herd as all male elephants do, to wander and eventually find his own way. But he never forgot what his mother taught him during that drought year. He carried those lessons into his solitary life and later into his interactions with other elephants. When he encountered younger bulls who were aggressive and challenging, trying to prove their strength, Arjun did not fight unless absolutely necessary. He remembered that true strength is not about proving dominance, but about protecting others. When he helped other animals in the forest, a deer stuck in mud, a calf separated from its mother, he did not do it for recognition. He did it because his mother had taught him that power comes with responsibility to those who are vulnerable. When other elephants asked him for advice, and he had grown wise enough that they did that, he always told them the same thing. Leadership is not about being first. It is about ensuring no one is left behind. Decades later, when Arjun was an old bull elephant respected throughout the forest, a young elephant approached him. Sir, how did you become so wise? What is your secret? Arjun thought about that drought year, about his mother's sacrifice, about the crocodiles, the tiger, the swollen river, about every decision she made, putting others first. My secret, he said slowly, is that I learned from someone who showed me that the heaviest burden you can carry is not on your back. It is on your heart. The burden of caring for others more than you care for yourself. That burden makes you tired. It makes you sacrifice. It keeps you awake at night. But it also makes you worthy. And if you want to be a leader, you must be willing to carry that burden with grace, with silence, and with love. The young elephant listened carefully, not fully understanding, but sensing the depth of the wisdom. And Arjun smiled, thinking of his mother, hoping she would be proud of the elephant he had become.